All right. Hello. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the IC channel where we are here to talk about everything. Pretty much everything. And because of the word in itself, everything really means one thing at a time. And we only can talk about one thing at a time, but everything was related to another thing. So we get back to the main point. And so, what's the point, you may ask, when we're so vague and you want to talk about everything, Maddie? So can you get to it? Well, eventually. I gotta introduce myself first, though. Every time, I really have to get into this mode of we're here to talk about consciousness. And what is consciousness? Let's spin around that idea for a second. I see. So, the I see, seeing, perspective, expansive, limitless, grand picture, universal and connective patterns, divine design, the expression of the universe itself through nature, humans responding to nature. I see. The notion continues to go through our expression or our attempt to define the undefinable, that it is a process to getting there, that we can grow in our understanding for what it is. And so my approaches to these conversations vary. And sometimes I like to come at it through astrology, through an astro look, is what they call them, because I'm looking at the current picture of celestial positions in the universe, the galaxy we know as our home. Anyways, astrology, and then health is another really amazing entry point to the conversation of our experience as humans. What is the human experience? How are we experiencing it? Maybe we're not aware because we're not honoring one of the aspects of our reality that really houses the whole thing. So our bodies start talking louder and louder and louder until we pay attention to that physical aspect of reality that's calling to us in order for us to act in alignment, act in order. And then there is this order that we can find and refine inside of, refine, course correct to get to that place of alignment so we can experience more of it, more of the fulfillment, more of our sense of sensing, more of our sense ability, more of our grasp on what is ungraspable, because that takes an openness, being suspended into almost a free fall. Yoga will talk about that further, where we are not clinging on to the edge of the cliff in some metaphorical language. We are open and floating on top of just the surface because our energy is lifted upwards, because we've filtered our experience to be able to see that that is a part of us. I'll get further into that conversation when I talk about frames of mind, frames of mind in which prevent us from being present with our body and our spirit and our emotional current that carries us through things. There are blocks and fail-safes, really, that protect us and ensure we survive because of circumstances too traumatic or too stressful that cause injury, and would be the reason that we would shut off if not for the ability to store energy, or disconnect is the real term, disconnect from energy. And so without reconnecting to energy and healing, these words, right, healing, let's get to that conversation, right, is what is required so that we can operate on that level of connection to build and bridge towards a deeper understanding, a deeper sense, a deeper experience of our movement, of our spirit. And that is the breath. That is a channel of the breath, and that comes in through our ability to be there with it presently. So, my focus is never so much so the conversation around what not to do, though that comes up. Maybe don't eat canola oil. And I'll tell you why. In this video, this moment, very much I wanted to say why. It's not my focus, but it comes up, and so hey, let's talk about it. There are poisons in certain things, and you don't want them in your body. And canola oil has a really high concentration of glyphosate, and glyphosate, when mixed with other things as well as other poisons and factors, environmental and emotional, these things affect our well-being. And when our well-being is affected, we are not able to fulfill our purpose, which is to cultivate a relationship with nature, our nature, the nature that houses us and is within every little aspect of our known reality. So maybe let's focus on having a clean and clear system, and that goes beyond the body, even a system of functioning where our circles of relationships are healthy and our boundaries are understood, and we are all, you know, honoring the practices that bring us closer together, and where we can share and exchange ideas and come closer to our experience of our beliefs and redefine what that is, you know, be open to that. So anyways, if we're not feeling well, we don't feel very inclined to share. Maybe that also comes into the imbalances of our situation of well-being in the financial standpoint. If we're not taking care of ourselves and flourishing, how can we show up for ourselves in the full? How can that be balanced with our own needs and then meeting the needs of others? If we're not balanced in what we need and we're overextending or underextending in whatever capacity, we will do the same in other relationships. So what not to do is one focus, and to balance that, really it looks like putting those things down and just focusing on what to do. Once you have the information, once there's reasons to really make a commitment and dedication to whatever it is, it becomes this easy, breezy walk towards all the things you find actual enjoyment in and find real ability to respond within. Yeah, joy. Within pleasure, within, um, yeah. Words just started falling apart when I started realizing that I'm enjoying talking right now, and I'm enjoying, and I'm inside my moment to express these ideas that really do transform one's ability to make choices for themselves. As I have found myself in this very same position, it's not always easy to let go of things. I myself had many vices and still struggle with certain circumstances, but I've come a long way, and I'll talk about that maybe in another podcast or another video to get personal, because right now I'm focusing on what to do, and it means allowing yourself compassion and forgiveness for certain choices that served you in the moment and got you to the place in which you can grow, and that can happen in an instant. You can grow and go, whoa, this is who I am. I identify in this way to be able to honor the space necessary for all the choices and decisions that bring me closer to truly being with a version of self that can carry on for a lot longer, that is sustainable as well. And oh, dare I throw the word in healthy, because people all of a sudden have this aversion to the word healthy. Like, oh, I'm not healthy, so I can't choose that. Why would I eat gluten-free pasta? Why would I spend my money on organic? There's pretty good apples over there and the bananas look the same. Well, my friends, it's the same reason maybe you like to go to bed early. It's the same reason maybe you like to, talk with your friend about what's gone on when maybe you have had a good day or a bad day. And it's the same reason you get out of bed every day. Like, you have some sort of sense that there's reason to be fueled by purpose, whether it be your life's mission or a day ahead that's really invigorating. We make choices because they lead us somewhere. and the place in which they lead us, maybe we don't know. Maybe. Quite frankly, that's pretty much always the case. We don't really know unless we can watch it unfold right in that moment. Okay, here's my money. I know that I'll get something for it. Or I hit record and now I get to be, you know, inside of this recording. I'm still recording. So choices, fundamentally, it's our ability to become aware that allows us to make choices that lead us to betterment and improving the circumstance that we're presently in. We always want to improve. There's always room for improvement. And inside of that, there is recognition for what it has taken to get to the place of change. And it's not always easy, like I've said just a second ago, and I'll say again, probably many times. It can be quite difficult to see that place of change and recognize the resistance around it because it's what you've always known. No matter how long you've known it, it's what you've always known. And it is the case that it gets harder to change. Being the person I am, I worked inside of long-term care facilities as a nurse, and my title was an LPN. I had many positions inside of multiple care homes, and so I operated within the context of preferences and patterns, and I watched what it looked like when somebody didn't change and hardened actually. They nailed the box shut, and some people, they screwed it in, put up more metal, and screwed it in further, and they've compartmentalized themselves inside of an identity that doesn't serve them whatsoever, and they don't even know that it doesn't serve them because that's all they ever knew, and so they just kept doing that. And there's this idea of de-evolution, when what we're actually looking towards is to evolve and grow and expand and maybe cycle our energy, and there's practices that help us get there. There are reminders that that is the intention, even if we don't know how to define that. Maybe there's little, hints and clues and nudges along your way to go, hey, look that way. Open your eyes. Can you see now? Does this not ring any bells? This is not me talking to like my conversation, but the circumstance speaking to you in the moment, right? Doesn't it seem clear and at a certain point that it's just you in your own way, and that there's always information being presented to you to be able to recognize and witness through reflection and introspection of your very emotions and sense of self, to recognize the beliefs you have and the story you're telling yourself. And so I could keep going in this very frame of mind and talk about why we are resistant to change. However, again, I still love to focus on just what to do. Like how to do the doing, basically. What to let go of is a minor conversation, and then the major conversation is, here's all the things that I find joy in, and here's what brings me centering and peace, and here are practices and perspectives and patterns that have shifted my being to be stronger, more resilient, literally unlocking parts of my body physically and reaching new corners inside of my mind to see myself in a more compassionate and more receptive and more loving way. More authenticity comes from this place of being able to recognize narratives that you tell yourself about yourself because somebody else brought it up, or it was societal perspective. Anyways, I could go off on the examples that really don't matter, but that is so important to recognize. And sometimes it comes up in your own, you know, solo individual process. Sometimes it comes up in a group setting or in a one-to-one where you can hear yourself, see yourself, feel yourself clearly, and you go, whoa, where does that come from? I must follow that to the root. Root. Where are the roots? Let's pluck those weeds, shall we? And within that notion, maybe you've heard that metaphor before. Weed your garden and water your garden and to tend to your garden, the mind being the garden. And within that, I love talking about the fact that there are always healthy roots. You are still standing or sitting and breathing, hopefully well. I'll invite you to take a deep breath in now. In this moment, if you're not breathing deeply, let's just take a deep breath in. And a deep, clearing exhale out. Empty, empty, empty. This container that you are inside of right now, as you watch this video, this is what you got to work with. And the true mark of the creative, the artist, the human, is to use what you got. And to carry on that little thought, start with where you are. That's your capacity to build upon. And we are building capacity to hold as much light as we can within our container. And within that idea, we can feel that sense of lightness. We build on our very foundations to be able to house that sense of energetic being. We are light and love, my loves. So, if this little video didn't give you any little hints or nudges or clues, please feel free to comment, ask me questions, give me a hint. Maybe I just rambled for 16 or so minutes here now and really didn't make any sense as to what I'm talking about. I can get specific. The notion really is to recognize a place inside yourself that is inviting yourself to go further. Find the places that you're resisting stepping into, maybe. Maybe there's a daily walk ritual that's been calling to you, or maybe there's a yoga ritual practice, invitation to be with yourself in however the measured time goes. You don't have to do an hour-long practice. You can do 5-10 minutes a day, 20 minutes. It grows. Oh, it grows. Maybe this is a reminder that you are in the need and desire to reach out to like-minded individuals. Or it's maybe a reminder to take time for yourself. Maybe it's a reminder to recognize the purpose inside of your life, how you can frame that as a day-to-day idea or a grand notion of what your life path will lead to. Maybe this is a reminder to look into the sky tonight, or in the morning if you're watching this in the morning, but to look up and go, I'm here, and thank you. And maybe this is also a reminder to go to bed at a decent hour, which is coming up here if you're in the Pacific Central Time. If you're on the West Coast here, it's close. We're getting there. Maybe this is a reminder to nourish yourself and hydrate yourself adequately. Eat the good foods and drink the tea. Maybe less alcohol or none at all. And within all of this, maybe this is a reminder just to take a deep breath and get outside. And remind yourself that life doesn't have to be so serious. We can laugh, we can sing, we can dance. It's all a matter of choice. So, my friends, I will leave you there. As always, stay well, be good to yourselves. Much love, peace from my being to yours, and at ease, yogis.